Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special project that we'll be working on. Some of you may know that elephants are my absolute favorite, and last year I asked Shannon from Bear Trends to create an SVG wrap for me, kind of like her Christmas tumblers with the trees and the reindeers and things like that. Except I wanted elephants. So she did that, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this tutorial. So we're going to start out with a 1-to-1 ratio mix of Wanderlust and Athena from Peachy Olive Glitters for our first one. And then the second one is going to be one of the newest glitters from the October Peachy palette called Fall Y'all. And this one is gorgeous. If you don't have it, you need it. They are on the website individually now. I have a code mitten10 that you can use if you decide to buy it, but definitely do not sleep on that color. It is so pretty. Okay, so we're just going to apply the glitter with the epoxy method, a very, very thin coat of epoxy, and then sprinkle your glitter on. You don't want too much or it will soak into your glitter and you'll see those spots. And once that was dry, I went over it with a coat of Crystallat glitter glue just to seal those in. It's going to help with the smoothness of the tumbler once you start going in with your epoxy. I gave that Crystallat glitter glue about 2 hours to dry before I went in with my epoxy, and I went in, I believe it was about 60 milliliters for these 2 cups. For the first coat, and overall I ended up applying 3 coats each. These ones were a little bit pokey, and I wanted to make sure that you couldn't see any of that once I applied the paint over the glitter, so that's why I did so many this time. And then I wanted to test something, so I went in and one of the cups I went in with this stencil vinyl, and another one of the cups I went in with just the regular vinyl. I wanted to see how the paint reacted, if it seeped under the stencil vinyl or if it kind of stayed in place where it needed to. And then I completely screwed up my cup. So initially I was going to make the purple tumbler a wood grain on the outside, and for whatever reason something changed in the spray paint formula, and I can't seem to get my wood grains to work anymore. It just kind of turns into this muddled mess and gets all gloopy and spreads, and it makes the paint wet again, and it's just very bizarre. So I ended up scrapping that idea, and I ended up doing both of them black spray paint, which I'm kind of glad I did because I'm really happy with how they turned out. Anyways, so I'm going in with the stencil vinyl for one and the vinyl for the other. You'll see that I end up switching vinyls because I had to strip this cup. But anyways, they both ended up peeling off pretty much the same. So I changed stencil vinyls. I know before I said I didn't like it, but I found this one and it seems to work well. So I'm a changed woman, yes. So the way that Shannon has these wraps set up, they are already supposed to be fitting your 20 ounce or your 30 ounce. She's got the measurements in the file when you purchase it. You can purchase the 20 ounce and 30 ounce separately, or you could just measure it to fit whichever brand tumbler that you have. But I would highly recommend measuring after you have your epoxy on, because you wouldn't think it does, but it does add quite a bit of width to the tumbler. So your things may be off just a little bit. It's not going to look absolutely horrible because you have those little elephant feet to kind of distract from it if it is off a little bit, but if you can prevent it, I would just do it that way. Okay, so I wanted to distress the tops and the bottoms of this, but I absolutely hate having to distress with acetone. It just makes a mess and it takes forever to clean up, and so I just went in and took my painter's tape and ripped it in half, and applied it to the top and bottom, and it was way easier to do it this way than it was to use acetone or alcohol to clean it up. I mean, it literally took seconds. So 10 out of 10 would recommend doing that. And just make sure your paint is tight around your edges or you'll get paint seeping through. But then I went right in with 2 coats of black spray paint. I did really light bursts so I didn't get any dripping, and then let it dry for about an hour. I would recommend using matte or flat spray paint. It just seems to lay better. There's no running as long as you're doing light coats. So that's my favorite. You can use whatever you want, but that just seems to give me the best end results. So once that dried, I went in and peeled the stencil. And oh, and another reason that I use matte is because I hate having to do 12 coats of epoxy. And so when I use a matte or a flat paint, I don't have to epoxy before I lay down my decals. As long as you're not laying down like a water slide or like a universal decal or something like that, that's clear. You don't have to worry about epoxying because it will all just get covered up anyways. As long as your surface is smooth, you can go right in with those decals. So that's another reason I use that, and it doesn't peel up the paint or stick to my transfer tape or anything like that. So peeled this, went in with my decals or my offsets, and like I said before, everything is preset for you, so you don't have to make any adjustments. When you buy the file, it's just ready to go and cut as is. All right, so now that everything is peeled, all my stencils are peeled, I went in and I cut the offsets and the little feet in gold vinyl. I will link that in the description box. I use this gold vinyl for absolutely everything. It's my favorite. It doesn't stretch, it doesn't rip, I don't know, it's just, it's just Amazon. I don't even know what brand it is. I just got it on Amazon for like 10 bucks. All right, so I'm not gonna make you sit through me putting the offsets on another cup, so I just deleted that, and you're going to go right into laying in the feet. So there's no stencil or layout or anything with these feet. You just gotta kind of eyeball them. I try to keep them all centered right above the ear. To keep them all in line. That's kind of like my focal point. And and it seems to work well. So do what's best for you, but that's just kind of how I eyeballed things, and it turned out pretty straight for me. So once I finished laying my vinyl work down, I put it right on my turner and put a coat of polyacrylic over top of it, and immediately went in while my glove was still a little bit tacky from the polyacrylic, and tapped it in my glitter mixture. I didn't use very much. It's very overwhelming because there's already so much going on with the cup, but I just laid the glitter right down into the polyacrylic, let that dry for about a half hour till it was dry to the touch, and then went over it with 2 final coats of epoxy. It's not necessary to do that. You can do it without the extra glitter, but I'm extra. I love glitter, so it was just kind of an obvious choice for me. So that was it for the tumblers. I love how they turned out. They are for my best friend and I. We both absolutely love elephants, and I am so glad that Shannon created this for me. If you guys make one of your own, you can join my mitten makers group and show me what they look like, and I will see you guys next Saturday.